So, hello everyone, welcome to the second annual Global Goddess Fest, a week-long virtual festival to inspire, activate, and connect female leaders, entrepreneurs, and creatives worldwide. So today we have Louise Carron Harris joining in from London. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. An absolute honor. Thank you.
Oh, so good. So Louise is an amazing, deeply powerful medicine woman and earth chakra shaman. And her and I met on a beautiful trip, sailing trip, and I got to experience these earth activations that she guides, and also just experience her energy for a week long. And it was so powerful, the space that she was holding and the wisdom that she was sharing with all of us. So Louise is a shamanic healer, mentor, mystic, earth energy activator, storyteller, radio presenter, and author of Awakening the Western Woman, which is and then she also has a book coming out in 2019, The Earth Chakra Shaman. So it's the work that you're doing is so powerful, and I can't wait to share more about your story. So thank you for being here again.
Yeah, it's been an honor. I everybody we meet for a reason, right? That moment where we were chatting and I saw you and I was like, I know you. And it always happens when you meet someone on that connection, destiny.
Totally. And so I would love to just hear and have you share about your earth chakra story, and maybe, you know, how this came about, because it's so interesting. And also, for all the viewers, like, what is the earth chakra as well?
You know, back in 2015, I was on a shamanic medicine wheel, and I was woken up at nighttime by the call of the sacred mountains in Peru. Now, I am very shamanic, speak to trees and angels and you name it, but the energy was so different, like literally being woken up in the middle of the night. And this went on for 3 nights. And then the next morning I came down to meditate, and having had a dream the previous night, which I knew I was being called to Peru, all these different signs and symbols were coming. So I came downstairs to meditate in my room, this room, and the mountains then started speaking to me when I was absolutely awake. And it was very different to anything I'd experienced. And they were saying, you know, you have to come to Peru. And I was freaking out because I'd never left my family before. Like my little girls, my husband, who we'd been together at that point, like 17 years at that point. And this was like too big a calling. And I was like, no. So in the end, having negotiated a deal with the mountains, I said, I'll go if you send me the money. And the next day, a letter arrived in the post with a huge amount of money from a client who said, the angels told me an amount to send you 6 months before. They told me it would enable you to make important journeys. And I had weird stuff happen to me all my life. I was on my kitchen floor shaking my letter like, what? So along that same time, manifestations were coming about. I was called to Australia, and I knew that I had to go to this big red rock in Australia, but I didn't know what it was. I only to now know that is Uluru, the heart of Australia, formerly known as Ayers Rock. I knew I was having to go to this mountain on Lake Titicaca in Peru, and the money would just come. And actually, it was a time when I could manifest anything, but I wasn't great at manifesting money. So already I was starting to see that manifesting can be easy if you want a car and all these things, but it's the manifesting of your divine purpose when everything truly begins to align. And I'm going to say, I'm one of these I'm one of these people that doesn't read a lot of books. I play the dyslexic card sometimes. It serves me, and I have to be aware that, you know, we can transform these things. But equally, I struggled learning at school, so I didn't really know about what these places were, or the histories, or really anything. My power was always intuition and healing people and awakening people. So I was starting having visions about redwood trees, and a friend of mine was like, "Lou, is that like Mount Shasta?" I was like, "Yeah, what's that?" And he went, "Oh my God, you're being called to the earth chakras." And I was like, "What's an earth chakra?" And he sort of explained to me, Earth has chakras, and we're indigo children are called to them because they can activate their energy. And I was like, okay. And he said, you know, he said, you have such purity, so explain what you're doing. You just have to show up. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So this is all before I actually started traveling to these places. All I knew is I had to work with the energy medicine of these places. I went to Uluru and had some very profound moments. That was my first stop. And then I finally went to, about a month later, I was in Peru. And this time on my own and with a shamanic group, but not with my husband and kids. And some very profound things would happen to make sure that I was where I needed to be. And actually, funny enough, my husband FaceTimed me just as I was on Lake Titicaca with my girls. And I was like, "Where are you?" They said, "We're at Glastonbury," which is in England. It's you may know about it, and it's our sacred lands, and actually the heart chakra of the earth. Somewhere I'd been called to ever since I was very young, and so things were really starting to go, okay, what is all this? And Uluru is the solar plexus of the earth, holds this power, create this ability to manifest. And Lake Titicaca is the sacral chakra of the earth, the birth of creation. And the lines, we have these dragon lines, these ley lines that run between the earth chakras, and Mount Shasta is the base chakra of the earth. And actually, when I got to Mount Shasta, I was with my family. A lot of my stuff came up. It was like it was shifting, or like I was having to really do a lot of clearing. But every time I went to these places, without being told, without any knowledge or knowing what I was doing, I was automatically doing a ceremony, offering my sacred medicine stones, which as a shaman, it's like giving away your best tools. But I knew I had to. There was something guiding me much bigger. I was called to the waters in Alaska to do work on the waters, and I was showing the pipelines that I'd never seen a pipeline before. And it was just as Dakota pipeline was all happening, I came back and it was all kicking off with the Dakota pipeline, and Mother Earth was telling me not to hate the oil, but to bring peace to all of this. So I was blessing the blood of Mother Earth and connecting to the waters, still honestly not really knowing what I was doing. I was going on innocence and wonder and a wing and a prayer, but just knowing that I had to go there. Now, we came back to England and I went back to Glastonbury. I'd been going there pretty much since I was 20 years old, to the festivals, but also because those lands call you. And this is our heart chakra. And I started to see what I was doing is when we go to these places, and don't think this is just me being special, because I can tell you now, if you are watching this, you are part of this too. We have sacred sites all over the world, and it's all interconnected in this beautiful web. And when we show up with love and light and liberation and joy and this desire to call in the spirit of truth, so we are a part of dreaming the world we want to see into being, these chakras begin to open and radiate. And over this next dawning of this new age, we are in Aquarius, we are bringing in this new energy, this new Gaian energy. And it's things are crazy right now. It's almost like an exciting time to be alive, but slightly terrifying unless we shift this vibration. And so I really take going to these sites now very seriously. I don't have to fully understand, I just have to listen, like we all have to listen now. We are in service, each and every one of us. There is a reason why you're watching, why, Rae, you have set up this retreat, to spread the message of our individual uniqueness and our special. So people, I was once asked by a teacher, why do you think you're so special? And I was like, if I don't know I'm special, how can I see that in everybody else? Everyone has got something to give. And when we visit these sacred sites, just like we would have done tribally 2, 3, 4,000 years ago, we would have walked a pilgrimage, and in that pilgrimage we would have transformed and alchemized our thinking, our woes, our wounds into our gold and our gifts. And when we arrive at these sacred sites, we're arriving with this purity of heart and this cleansing energy. And we give that back to Mother Earth so this earth can grow. And so we have so many sacred sites. We have basically 7 chakras, main chakras on the earth. So we've talked to you up until the heart chakra. But also then, by the way, if you do vision boards, like, yeah, they're so profound. This was all on my vision boards. Like every time I looked at my vision board, I was like, oh my gosh. And it takes a lot for me to now be going, oh my gosh, because normally I go, of course it's there. But sometimes I would just be bowled over. The pyramids in Egypt, I went with my husband and went with my friend. And it was an interesting friend to go with because we'd never traveled together or anything. And she activated my voice. She was a singer. We ended up in the Great Pyramid all alone, which is unheard of, really, these. And we were singing and chanting and freeing myself and all of us collectively who have been like silenced for fear of judgment. That is not where our power is anymore. It's to let go of the fear of anyone's judgment and to speak our truth and be our truth and be courageous and brave, to have the courageous conversations that many will avoid. But when we don't have these conversations and when we don't sing our song, we're creating heavy energy within ourselves and with other people. And actually what we're doing is becoming light beings. We're becoming lighter in our energy field so we can work with the earth and each other. So we must speak our truth. And it's uncomfortable for some people. It really will. But if there's a great big elephant in the room with you and somebody else, we have to talk it. We need to speak. So I went to the pyramids, and then we have this, we have the third eye chakra, and this is a really curious chakra. Now, by this point, I had started to do some research on the earth chakra system and see where it came from. And it's come from a guy called Robert Kuhn, who is like, when I opened his books, I just couldn't understand them. They were so technical. He was talking about planetary gates of this number and that number and aligned with this star system. And it was all, it didn't process. But I kept trying to look, it's like, what does he mean by this third eye chakra and why is it moving? And he said, it moves every 2,000 years, the birth of each eon. And currently, whereas it used to be in Jerusalem in the time 2,000 years ago, which is, we're talking a lot about the birthing of the Christ consciousness as well right now, it moves. And currently, only for 100 years, while the new eon is awakening, it is actually with the heart chakra. It's at a place called Shaftesbury, which is like, a 40 minutes drive from Glastonbury. But there's a lot of ancient prophecies around this. And again, I always come very humble and say, I don't know it all. And I sometimes read these books and I'm like, I'm not there yet. but a lot of King Arthur stories about the Holy Grail, about Jesus coming to Glastonbury and Glastonbury being the new Jerusalem. And so I'm still learning this. But what I did learn from his books, that everywhere I'd been, he sort of affirmed that I'd been doing the right thing. And for me, it was just really nice to be validated, especially when it turned out I was doing a trip to Egypt with my group. And I opened his book and he was like, there was 3 powerful days in the next 30, 40 years at Egypt. And I just so obviously happened to book my group on that one powerful day.
Of course.
And I was like, this is just this is the power of our knowing. It's there, it's so there. Please trust your intuition and do not adjust it for anyone. Because when you're called to do something, it's your calling. And some people will never understand it, just like some people will be like, what is she on about? We have to stand strong in our power and our purpose and our calling, whatever that may be. We have to show up. So I had some beautiful dreams about Shaftesbury, and I knew it was time for me to go to Shaftesbury. I honestly didn't know where I was going. I was like, it's a town. It's not like going to Uluru or Mount Shasta. It's a little village town.
Yeah.
And of course, I was wearing 888 number around my neck at the time, because I love angel numbers. I see them like all the time, and I looked at Google. It's like, right, Shaftesbury. What's in Shaftesbury? And there it was, an abbey that was built in 888. I went, right, that's where we're going. And on that journey, I was guided to go to a stone circle, and I ran into my room and picked up some old alabaster that I picked up from Egypt, which is the pyramids. Some of the pyramids were covered in this beautiful white gleaming alabaster, and you can pick up bits of stone around some of the pyramids. So I'd got some, and I just felt called to take it with me. And I did a little offering on the earth, and you can do this too. You know, if you feel called to go to a sacred site. I just take like some sage from my garden and some like maybe some corn or some even sweets or anything, and make what we call in Peru a despacho. But it's your intention. If you're coming there with love and this dream of a peaceful, loving world, and if your heart is pure, that chakra or that energy line will open up for you, and it will be a giving and receiving. So I made this little despacho on the earth at the stone circle, and then felt the need to pop a little bit of alabaster in the center. And then we tootled off in our old 1972 camper van and headed off to Shaftesbury, and I got into this old abbey, and it was, you know, a ruin now. And I love the history because I'd had a dream about this king, and I walked in and there was this picture of this king, big statue of this king. And in my vision of this king, he was holding herbs. And the lady said to me, there used to be medicine women here. The king actually asked his daughter to be the first abbess ever. And she was the first abbess. So it's like a real powerful feminine energy in this place. And I was walking around this beautiful old English abbey and found myself at a big old stone cross. And I had one of those guides that you can listen to. It tells you what's around. So I had like a little information guide on a headset. And as I stood in front of this cross, the voice said, "This old stone cross used to have an alabaster center." And I was like, of course. So I took out some alabaster, and I felt a bit sneaky. I was like, I think I need to make this offering here. And we made my offering, and it just feels like all of a sudden it's like, my work's done. And we decided to head off to Glastonbury that evening. And obviously, as all these things do happen, I realized I was always traveling on a full moon or a new moon. It was a lunar, it was a solar eclipse. We headed off to Glastonbury tour with my children, my husband, and I made another offering with the intention just to bring love and light to the earth. and ended up chatting with a guy, as you do, because you've got to listen, you've got to talk, you've got to be courageous to just ask the question to random strangers. I was asking this guy who was completely random. I said, "Oh, do you know anything about Shaftesbury?" Because actually, some part of me was still looking for validation. And he
Mhm.
said, "No, I don't know." And I went, "I just go to these places. Have you heard of an earth chakra?" And he went, "Wait one moment." And he goes and gets a pack of like old-fashioned oracle cards, guys. Like, not the big packs we have. I'm on about like handmade little deck. And he said, "I used to live in Glastonbury 20 years ago, and someone delivered these through the door, and I was guided to bring them up today." And he goes, "I have something for you." And he pulled out these cards. And he went, "This is for you, and I'm going to show you because I know that if you're listening, you're part of this too." This, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
It's a picture of the Earth, and it says ley lines, power spots reactivated. And at the back it says, "The Earth is waking up. I join with others in using my powers of awareness to reactivate the light centers around the planet."
Ooh.
My prayers have been
So
answered.
amazing.
Finally, someone was telling me what I was doing. It was amazing. So that was really beautiful. And then I have to say, I then knew I was going to be called to the seventh chakra. And I knew where this was now. And this was Tibet. It was Mount Kailash in Tibet. And so there was a little part of my ego that was like, I'm going to have activated all 7 chakras. Aren't I special? Waiting for it to happen. And I could see it in myself. And it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. And it wasn't, and I let it go because I was like expecting it to happen when I thought it was going to happen because I
Mm,
tracked it all. And you just can't come from that place. And it was a nice little wake up call for me to check in with myself.
mm,
About 6 months later, I was writing my book, Awakening of the Western Woman, which is actually like the prequel to the Earth Chakra Shaman, which is the information I'm sharing with you now,
mm-hmm.
or a very condensed version.
Yeah.
And um, and then I felt it. I turned to my husband. I was like, "I've got to go." And a lot of the stories if you read my book, is the dynamics between me and my husband, which is
Mm,
my scientific man and I am the spiritual woman, and how this divine union works when one is being called and the other does not understand. It's been a very powerful journey of honoring each other where we're at. And, this will still keep coming up in our relationship because, I hear a lovely little star beings being like, "Yeah, but I just want to marry a vegan man and who meditates." And I'm like, sometimes we need to be with someone who isn't like us because
mhm,
marry an energy that keeps the harmony and balance, and we let go of what's right and wrong and just be at peace with where we're at.
mm,
And actually, some things began to happen. We got some inheritance, but just before the inheritance came, he actually said, "I'm going to pay for you to go." And the next day, we were gifted some inheritance.
mm,
So the money always came, and I went to Kailash. It was an exhausting journey. I went to Mount Everest, and I'd never actually traveled alone. This is my first thing. So, and
mm.
I away. I had this moment of like, I don't want to give my most powerful medicine stone, like the one that I'll like give all these ones, but not this one. And
Yeah.
Kailash is like, you haven't come all this way. And I gifted my most powerful medicine stone. And actually, what was really interesting is somebody in my tribe. I have a group, and anyone's welcome to join it if you're full of love and light, and you're up for doing something and just wanting to learn. And she said to me, "Oh my gosh, I feel energy shifts in the world, and I've never been able to pinpoint it to one person, but I could feel when you were activating Kailash." And she's very far out. She's also
Wow.
and I said, "Do you know what? Thank you for seeing me, because there is a few people who come into my life and they see it and they're like, thank you for the work you're doing. And it's beautiful. And I don't do it for the thanks, but sometimes it was so beautiful in that moment to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I invite you guys to listen, because there is these 7 chakras, but also we have 4 major earth spinners. We have a 13th chakra in Moscow, and then each one of these chakras have a structural and a creative point. There's actually like 156 main gateways on the earth, but remember that even if this blows your mind, it doesn't matter, because if your heart is saying, I got a pilgrimage to this place, just go with your love and light, and you're knowing that your growth and your gift is this. That's your gift to all of us. And I say thank you for showing up for any way you can. And your way is the right way.
Mm. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so amazing. And wow, yeah, I love just kind of sitting back and listening to everything that you just shared. So thank you so much. I know that everyone that's watching just got some major activations and hopefully got very inspired to also start looking at their own path and how they can carve it, whether they know what they're doing or not. And that's part of the mystery, is following the intuition and letting it guide. So thank you so much for sharing that and for being that example on this planet for others as well. And yeah, it's just very, very powerful. And so anyone that's watching, Louise has an amazing free gift for you to enter into a competition to receive a free shamanic healing meditation. So check out the link below this video, follow up with her, check out her books. So powerful, so many incredible stories, right? It just kind of like sucks you in. I'm sitting here with my cacao drink and I'm just like, ooh, wow, tell me more, next chapter. So thank you so much for being here.
It's such an honor. It's such an honor to share it, to be able to show up and to speak the weird and the wonderful and the mystic and be open. The age of Aquarius is a very exciting time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all of us creating.
Definitely. So inviting everyone that's watching to join in on this activation and to really just play their part, whatever that calling is. So thank you everyone that's come to watch. Thank you, Louise, so much for coming and sharing, and we'll see you all next time.
Blessing. Bye.